The Uyghurs are a people of Turkic origin, whose homeland spans the vast deserts and rugged mountains of northwestern China. Accounting for more than 1/6 of China's total territory, less than 10% of which is habitable, the Uyghur region has always stood at a crossroads of worlds, a meeting point for the Persian, Turkic, Mongol, and Chinese empires. Kashgar is an oasis city that served as a trading post along the Silk Road, the primary artery for trade between China, the Middle East, and Europe. There, the Uyghurs played an important role in cultural exchanges between East and West and developed a unique culture and civilization of their own. Their cuisine is often described as a fusion of Chinese and Middle Eastern flavors. Born in Kashgar, Kudret Yakup became the first of the Uyghur region's 13 million minority ethnics to attend Harvard College, and on a full scholarship, no less. In 2016, Kudret stepped away from his investment company to open Yana Kebab Empire in Manhattan, where kebabs and polo are introducing Uyghur cuisine's unique flavor to an American audience.
So I was born and grew up in Kashgar, studied at college here, and then while I was at college, I took time off to do tech startup, and then we failed miserably, but we learned so much during that experience. Spent about 5 years being back home, trying to help the local entrepreneurship community. I was looking for a project, something that relates to my own, the cultural background, the religious background, and something that I would feel very meaningful. In the end, I decided to work on the kebab. We have a long history of food culture, and then I would say within the Uyghur cuisine, probably one of the most popular food, iconic food, I would call it's probably the kebab.
Can you tell me about the process of making this?
So we start out by getting the meat first to the right temperature, and then we basically cut it at that right temperature, cutting in a certain shape that's perfectly right for the skewers. And then we marinate them using a variety of spices, salt, cumin, black pepper, and then the onion water, and that's about it.
What is that?
The onion water, we basically chop the onions and then we squeeze to get the juice of the
Oh,
onion.
wow.
And we use that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why we call it onion water.
Yeah. Is this typically the proteins that you would find in traditional Uyghur cuisine?
Well, actually, for us, back home, actually, the meat actually we eat is lamb. The place where we're located, it's like a landlocked region. You know, we have high mountain, we have desert,
Yes, yeah.
and we are far from the sea, ocean. So this is also why we don't really eat too much seafood.
Yeah.
Almost any time when people are talking about meat, and we actually just assume it's lamb.
Yeah.
It's to that extent.
Yeah. And it's super juicy. It's really, really well seasoned and tastes a lot like cumin spices. I have to be really careful not to get on my white sugar. Would you say that in this dish, there is a Chinese influence?
Probably in kebab, almost none. Yeah, I think like Uyghur kebab has been the origin of the kebabs in places like in Beijing, Shanghai, all those other areas. I would say Uyghur kebab is probably the origin of all those kebabs.
Yes.
So I think it should be maybe, if we have to say, probably it's like the other way around, which is like in the Uyghur kebab have more influence on the kebabs in other
I see.
parts of the
Yes,
world.
yeah. Are other Middle Eastern kebabs, do they have that similar cumin flavor? Because this is like very cumin flavor. I mean, which a lot of Chinese cuisine does have a lot of cumin.
Yeah.
But do you know if the other sort of Middle Eastern regions have very cumin forward kebabs
I
like
think
this?
most of the kebab I have noticed, they would actually they use less cumin.
So what makes a Uyghur kebab different from a Turkish kebab?
I would say we are more simple in terms of the ingredients, but we rely more heavily on the meat itself being the high quality meat.
Yeah.
If the lamb is not the high quality lamb, then it's not gonna come out great.
Right.
Yeah. Historically, I mean, when it comes to like the Turkish and the Uyghur people, we are Turk people by origin. It's the Turk people actually, they started to basically moving all the way to the west to where they are today. The food that we eat today, the polo, the kebab, this is original Turkish food made by the original Turkish people. And then,
So Turkish food is fusion.
I would say the Turkish food itself is actually the westernized version of the
Wow.
Uyghur food. Uyghur food has been actually very simple. We do have like a lot of variety, but the most popular ones are just those like a few of the ones that actually everybody likes to eat almost every day, like kebab, and then polo. Polo is made with the broth of carrots and also the lamb, the rice that's been steamed within that broth. And then we have a bunch of spices that go in there to create a unique flavor. It sounds very simple in terms when it comes to ingredients or the whole process, but it's more about the technique of how to make it that makes it a special polo. Yeah. And we have some raisin on top, and we have some very simple salad.
This looks amazing. Yeah. So you eat it, do you eat it just like this? With
Yeah. And traditionally in old times, people actually would eat it with your right hand. But,
no, with your hand.
Yeah, with your hand. With your hand. Yeah.
But at home, when you grew up, you ate it with a spoon.
Yeah.
What do you?
Because I was lazy. The polo is actually kind of a signature food of Uyghur cuisine. Like I was saying, like the polo and the kebab, lagman, those are like the major, the most popular like food that you would see in almost everywhere you go.
Yeah, it tastes amazing. Some people would say that Uyghur food is a fusion of Chinese and Turkish cuisine.
When it comes to like maybe the influence-wise, very recently we started to see a little more like stirred, like fried dishes. I think that's the influence that we've been getting from the Chinese region. At the same time, also we've been getting some other kind of dishes from like other parts of the world, like from Turkey, even from like Thailand, those regions.
Yeah.
And then making the Muslim version, the halal version of those dishes.
Yeah. On this particular show, we're focusing on fusion cuisines.
Yeah.
But there's also this other word that's been thrown around, assimilation cuisine. And in some ways, Uyghur cuisine is the very opposite of assimilation cuisine, because you have Chinese from different regions coming into the Uyghur region, and instead of assimilating to traditionally Chinese tastes, it's very important to the Uyghur community to maintain that cuisine, to preserve that tradition. Can you talk a little bit about what that's like and how that's changed over the years?
Yeah, I think when it comes to Uyghur food, the way I feel is the Uyghur food has almost been always the same throughout the history. Yes, I mean, for example, we would try different other kind of cuisine, other kind of food, but we still, for most of the time, we eat our own food because we in so many ways, we think our food is basically just, it's really good.
Has it adapted to American tastes at all here?
We want to keep this authenticity. And this has also been the biggest challenge that we've been facing so far. Trying to keep the authenticity of the food and trying to keep up with the speed, the efficiency of this Manhattan. We know this is the most competitive market, which people are super picky when it comes to food because they get the luxury of tasting everything from all around the world. At the same time, people here are so busy, they don't have the time to wait. So this is the cumin lamb. We have it back home because this is very simple. You know, there's like you have the lamb, and then like you have the bunch of red pepper and the green pepper, and you have the potatoes and all that with the over cumin and all the spices. You just do it at home. Back home, actually, we really like to eat lamb, and especially the lamb with bones. Like,
yes.
But here, especially in this kind of New York, Manhattan setting, they will just come here. They want to grab a quick food, and that. So if it's come out with bones and like big meat, and it's kind of like it's inconvenient, and also making them uncomfortable. So this was something that we created, and turns out to be just wildly popular. But actually, it's not like some unique or like some famous Uyghur dish.
Yes.
So, yeah.
This you adapted in some way to Manhattan's influence. Can you tell me a little bit about the Uyghur community in New York? For me, I grew up half Korean, and I grew up in a small town in Eugene, Oregon, where there were 2 Korean restaurants. So all the Korean people in the small town of Eugene always went to these 2 restaurants. Is there a similar kind of feeling here in the Uyghur community? Is there a big Uyghur community, and do they all kind of have this sense of relief when they come here?
Yeah, actually, in New York, probably we have the smallest Uyghur community.
Really?
in the whole US.
Yeah.
When it comes to Uyghur food, most of those food that we enjoy, we can actually make it at home. But kebab is kind of not that convenient when in terms of you can't really, like cook the kebab every day at home. So that's why from time to time we have Uyghur customers. They will come here and then just try the Uyghur kebab, and we're really happy to see them.
Yeah.
I wish we could do the original Uyghur naan, but unfortunately we haven't been able to do that yet.
So why is that?
I mean, the Uyghur naan usually it's made in Uyghur tunor or like tandoor. So we don't have it yet. So hopefully we'll have it in the near future.
Is it similar to Indian naan, or is it different?
I would say the Indian naan or like the Turkish like bread naan is more softer. The Uyghur naan is a bit more harder.
Do you have anywhere that you go to eat this?
The naan?
Yes.
Real Uyghur naan here in New York, no.
So you must miss it a lot.
Oh, of course, yeah, I guess this is another one great thing about being an entrepreneur in the restaurant business as an immigrant, because usually the food is the thing that you would miss the most.
Right.
When you are outside home. But then as an entrepreneur, we can always try to make those food from back home. So that's something that I think we're fortunate to be able to do.
Yeah, that's great.